Hello, I'm Will, I'm here with Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And welcome once again to Warhammer 40k Conquest, where we play some battles from the issue that comes out every week. But first we're going to have a quick look at the magazine. If you want to skip straight ahead to the game, there's a timestamp in the description below. This week we got the second half of our Death Guard Rhino, which is now finished, and we learn how to paint it. Hint, it's green. We're going to have a look at the issue before we get to the games, and we've got some information about the Predator battle tank. This is armour rating, speed and firepower here. We've got some top trumps. It's basically a Rhino transport with guns on it. There's a turret and some side guns, and there's a sort of a little cutaway there as well. And then Death Guard Predator battle tanks, because as with most of the Chaos Legions, they have broadly the same equipment that the Loyalist Space Marines do, and we've got some named Death Guard Predators here: Excoriator, Scorn, and Gorgos. We've got some fiction now about Death on Damnos. This is about the Ultramarines against the Necrons, who are ancient robot killers, basically. Mortarion, Death Guard Primarch, his backstory. There's him there. Well, that's before he turned into a gigantic demon. And then painting the Death Guard Rhino, as you can imagine, this is quite a large area to cover, so they use the large brush to paint it entirely green, paint the silver bits. To start with, it's going to look a bit bland, but it will improve later on, as you see here, with details added, Space Marine helmet on it, all the trophy racks, and there we go, still looking very green. But as it says, it'll return to the Rhino later with extra colours. Anything to say about painting the Rhino?
It's very flat, going to need multiple coats to get a decent coverage. Oh, and I would suggest painting the tracks separately on the sprue, because it's slightly easier to paint them that way.
And as you might guess, in this issue we'll learn how transports work, because the Rhino is, of course, an armoured personnel carrier. So that will be the feature of this week's mission, and we're going to go on to that now.
So before we head into our mission for this week, we need to learn about transports, like our new Chaos Rhino. So each transport has a transport capacity, so it's 10 for the Rhino. So to embark in a transport, you need to be within 3 inches of it at the end of your move, and you can embark on a transport regardless of whether the transport has moved this turn or not. Once the unit has embarked, they're essentially off. It's as if they're off the battlefield, essentially, so they can't shoot or charge or do anything else, but then nothing can happen to them as long as they're into the transport. Although, if they are in the transport and the transport is destroyed, then what you do is you roll a dice for each model in the unit, and any rolls of 1 mean that a model in the unit is instantly killed. And it's important to note that it's instantly killed, not takes a mortal wound, so that means there's no disgustingly resilient for the Death Guard. And you can start embarked on a transport, which is handy if you're trying to set up all your units faster. And to disembark from a vehicle, you have to disembark before the vehicle has moved, but then you just set up the squad within 3 inches of the vehicle, and then they can act normally, although they count as having moved for the purposes of firing heavy weapons, even if they don't actually move once they disembark. And the same unit cannot embark and disembark in the same turn, so there's no free movement, I guess, from moving across through the tank. So if a unit disembarks and there isn't enough space to deploy every model within 3 inches of the vehicle due to terrain or enemy units, then any models that can't be disembarked are also instantly killed, but the rest survive. Also need to note that the rules for our tank traps have changed, so before they blocked vehicle movement, now vehicles can actually move over them freely, apparently, but if they advance or charge and they would move over a tank trap, you have to halve the advance or charge distance. The full transport rules are on the rules reference card, which is actually where they explain what happens if a vehicle, what happens to the people inside a vehicle when it explodes, since it doesn't actually mention it in here. And here we have our data sheet for the Chaos Rhino. So it's a reasonably toughness 7 vehicle, 10 wounds, so it has a degrading profile like the Dreadnought. It also has a bit of firepower with the Combi Bolter and the Havoc Launcher, and it has some defense. So it has the smoke launchers where, once again, enemy units get -1 to hit it for a turn, for their next turn essentially. One other thing we'll need to remember is that it can self-repair. So at the start of each turn, if you roll a 6, it gains a wound, and it can also explode, much like the Dreadnought can. So here's our mission for this issue: Armoured Assault. So the Death Guard are trying to punch through the Space Marines' lines. So the Space Marines set up at one end of the map. The Poxwalkers have their own deployment zone in this city block area, while the Blight-Hauler and the Rhino, with the Plague Marines embarked, will drive on their first turn. So the Space Marine player deploys all their forces, then the Poxwalkers deploy, and then the all the other Death Guard forces move on the first turn, and obviously the Death Guard player gets to go first. And our objectives: the Space Marines gain a victory point for every enemy unit eliminated, while the Death Guard get 2 victory points for each unit that ends the game in the Space Marines deployment zone. And the game lasts for 5 battle rounds. So, yeah, seems like a fairly straightforward mission. I'll head into the army overviews and then head straight into my deployment. So here's our Death Guard army for armoured assault. We've got 12 Poxwalkers, 5 Plague Marines, the Mythic Blight-Hauler, and of course the new Chaos Rhino for the Plague Marines to ride in. Here's our Silver Templar army for armoured assault. We have the Librarian leading 2 Hellblasters, 5 Intercessors, and the Redemptor Dreadnought. So here we are, I've finished my deployment. I have the Hellblasters down here at the bottom, next to the Dreadnought, and then the Intercessors around the Librarian. You can get some cover from that pipe. And I've tried to hide the Hellblasters a little bit just so they don't get popped off by the multi-melter. So now the Poxwalkers get to deploy in this area. So there the Poxwalkers have deployed, get some cover behind this little barricade thing. So the Blight-Hauler and the Rhino drive onto the map at the start of the Death Guard first turn, and the Plague Marines start embarked on the Rhino. So we'll head straight into Death Guard turn 1.
The Blight-Hauler has came in first along the road. They start on this very short stretch here of the road there, but it's just enough movement to get it within 2 inches of the ammo crate. And then the Rhino moves 12 inches, and it's worth pointing out actually you always measure from the hull of the vehicle, so not the spikes and things on the front, so it's moved 12 inches forward onto the board. Poxwalkers are actually not going to move, they're going to stay there, because if I get any closer the Dreadnought will be able to get them in heavy flamer range, and I don't really want them flamed just yet. Shooting phase, we will start with the
Blight-Hauler.
Blight-Hauler, thank you. It's going to shoot at the Dreadnought with both of its weapons that are in range, so crack missile and multi-melter. We will start with the multi-melter, hitting on 4, it hit, wounding on a 3 because it's toughness 7, so that's a wound.
No armour save.
No armour save, so just d6 damage, 4.
It's down to 9 wounds, and then the missile launcher.
Crack missile, 4's rolling ones, no that's 2. And then the Rhino does have some guns obviously, but I'm going to forego shooting them in order to fire my smoke launchers. So until the start of my next shooting phase you'll be -1 to hit it with shooting.
Yep.
So it just gives it a bit more protection.
And so you can do that instead of firing any of its guns in the shooting phase, but you can only do that once per game.
Yeah, so that's that. Those used for now.
So straight into Space Marines turn 1. So here I've completed my movement. The 2 Hellblasters have just nipped out so that they can see the Blight-Hauler. The Intercessors have moved up with the Librarian, so the Librarian is actually within 18 inches of the Rhino, but I might have a different use for him. And of course the Dreadnought has moved up in the middle. So movement over onto the Psychic phase. So first the Librarian is going to try and manifest Veil of Time on the Dreadnought. So he needs a 6, gets it with a 7, and then he'll also try to manifest Might of Heroes on the Dreadnought, which he does not get with a 3. So Psychic phase over, onto the Shooting phase. So we'll start with the Dreadnought. It's going to put everything into the Poxwalkers. The Heavy Flamer is not in range, but the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon and the Frag Assault launchers are, or the Fragstorm Grenade launchers, sorry. So I'll start with the Fragstorm launchers. 2d6 potential shots, 5, hitting on 3s. That's 4 hits, wounding on 3s. 3 wounds.
Disgustingly resilient. Oh, made 2, so only 1 dies.
1 Poxwalker goes down.
They didn't have cover from it incidentally, so but I will take away the front man.
And then the Heavy Onslaught Gatling Cannon, 12 shots hitting on 4s because we moved. It's not that good. It's only 3 hits. Wounding on 3s. 1 wound.
Wow. Oh, I ignored it.
Good job, Dreadnought. And then the Intercessors are going to put all their shots into the Poxwalkers as well. So not within rapid fire range. They've got 5 shots hitting on 3s. 2 hits. Wounding on 3s. 1 wound.
Wow. I'll ignore that as well.
Yep. Then the 2 Hellblasters are going to put some shots into the Blight-Hauler. So they've got 2 shots hitting on 3s. I'm not going to overcharge. I should have overcharged, but it doesn't matter. Wounding on 4s. Puts toughness 7. 1 wound.
And I get a 5+ invulnerable save against that. No, I haven't made that, so that's 1 damage.
No.
Except I get to ignore it, which I don't.
So it's down to 7 wounds. And The Librarian is not in range of anyone, so on to the charge phase. The Dreadnought will declare a charge on the Rhino. So the Rhino gets to overwatch with its Havoc Launcher and its Combi Bolter.
Yep, so despite having used its smoke launchers, that only applies in the shooting phase. It can shoot in Overwatch. We'll do the Combi Bolter first.
It is going to be within 12 inches.
It is, yes. It's worth pointing out that the Rhino does not get the Death Guard Inexorable Advance rule that lets it do rapid fire range at 18 inches, but it's within 12, so still get 4 shots, hitting on 6s. 1.
2.
2 hits.
It's toughness 7, so winning on 3s.
No, winning on 5.
5, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so no wounds. And then the Havoc Launcher has D6 shots, 4, hitting on 6s, nothing.
And then I'm going to need a 9-inch to get a charge, but I can re-roll it if I fail. 8. No, it needs to be a 6. No. Failed charge. So that's my turn over. On to Death Guard, turn 2.
Plague Marines have disembarked from the Rhino. They're within 3 inches of it, and now they can move normally, so they will move their 5, and that will get them to over here. Then now they've moved like that, the Rhino will move up. It can go up to 12 inches. The Rhino will park itself there, so these Plague Marines can still see there, but the Dreadnought will have to go round it. So
Go through it.
Go through it. Well, yeah, possible. And then the Blight-Hauler will move up behind the Rhino, kind of like that. And actually, I'm going to stay a little bit further back because I don't want the Dreadnought piling into it. And Poxwalkers are going to advance. So, there we go. 6 inches.
Nippy.
Wow. Poxwalkers gets them to there. That's all my movement, so on to the shooting phase. Start with the Blight-Hauler shooting at the Dreadnought. It is within 12 inches now, so the multi-melter. Hits on 4 re-rolling ones. It did. It wounds on a 3. It does. No armour save. Now within 12 inches, so I roll 2d6 to pick the highest. Still only 4.
It's down to 5.
Crack Missile, that hits as well. That also wounds on a 3. It does. You get a
5 plus.
5 plus save against this.
Nope.
This does d6 damage. 4 again.
Down to 1.
Let's see if the Bile Spurt can finish it off.
Yep.
So d3 shots. 1 hitting on a 4. It does. Wounds on a 5. Strength 6. Does it reroll ones? Yeah, it can reroll that. Yeah, it's another one. So we'll shoot with the Rhino next, and it's going to shoot everything at the Dreadnought as well.
Yep.
So we'll do the Combi Bolter, 4 shots, hitting on 3s but rerolling 1s because it is within 2 inches of the ammo box. Nope. 2 hits, winning on 5s, nothing. And the Havoc Launcher, 1 shot, which hits on a 4 because it's a heavy weapon and it moved. Hits, it moves on 5. It does.
AP nothing, so 3 plus armor save? No. Does the Dreadnought explode? It doesn't.
The Plague Marines shoot the Intercessors. They can all see somebody. The Intercessors obviously in cover behind the pipe. So we'll do the Blight Launchers first. 4 shots hitting on 3s. 2 hits, wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s, 2 wounds. 4
plus armor saves. Made both.
No. The Champion's Plasma Gun, I'm not going to supercharge. 1 hit, wounding on a 3. Yep.
5 plus. Nope. So an Intercessor will take a wound. Put it on this guy at the back.
And Bolt Guns. 2 hits, wounding on 4s. 1 wound, 2 plus save.
Made it.
Not going to declare any charges, so that is it for Death Guard turn 2.
On to Space Marine turn 2. So I think we're just going to stay where we are. Yeah, the Hellblasters can see the Plague Marines from where they are, so straight on to the Psychic phase. The Librarian will try to manifest Smite. So it needs a 5. Gets it with a 7, so D3 mortal wounds on the Rhino. 2, and it does not have Disgustingly Resilient, so it goes down to 8 wounds.
Yes, those dice do add up to 10, but we'll catch that in a minute.
And then the Librarian will try and do Might of Heroes on himself, because it might be relevant. He just does not get that with a 5. So on to the shooting phase. So we'll start with the Intercessors. They're actually going to rapid fire at the Plague Marines, because they're all within 15 inches. And so these two can only see 1 Plague Marine who's obscured, so I'll start with them, because he'll have cover from them. So they have 4 shots hitting on 3s. I only got 1. Wounding on a 5. He didn't wound. And then the unobscured ones. 6 shots hitting on 3s. 4 hits. Wounding on 5s. 2 wounds, so 2 4 plus armor saves.
Failed 1. Disgustingly Resilient. Nope, failed that, so we'll just take away the bolt gun.
And then the 2 Hellblasters can all see a Plague Marine in the open.
Yeah, no cover.
So 2 shots, not going to overcharge. Hitting on 3s. 1 hit. Wounding on 3. Didn't wound. Librarian is in range of someone, so he'll fire his bolt pistol at the Poxwalkers. Hitting on 3. No. So that's my turn. I'm not going to get any charges. On to Death Guard, turn 3.
We'll start with moving the Rhino. It can move 12 and it can fit through this gap, so it gets itself to there, roughly. It's not quite within the Space Marine deployment zone yet. Plague Marines will move over there. Poxwalkers will move up just 4 inches. Poxwalkers have moved up there, getting a bit closer, and then the Blight-Hauler will just shimmy up like this, making sure everybody gets within its 7-inch cover bubble. On to the shooting phase. We'll start with the Blight-Hauler. It's going to shoot at the Hellblasters.
Okay.
So we've got the multi-melter hitting on 4 re-rolling ones. It hits. Third 4 in a row. It wounds on a 2. It does. No armour save, so I just need to not roll a 1.
Were you within 12 inches probably?
Oh yes, I am within 12 inches, so another die, but I rolled 4, so...
So go off the end will die.
Crack missile. Misses. And then the Bile Spurt is within 12 inches, just about. 1 shot again, hitting on a 4. Missed. The Plague Marines will fire at the... No, we're going to do the Rhino first. It's going to fire at the Intercessors.
Okay.
So we'll do the Combi Bolter first.
Only
1 more hit. Wounding on a 4. Nope. The Havoc Launcher, D6 shots. 2.
Hitting on 4s.
4s, because it's a heavy weapon. 1 in the box. So 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, because it's strength 5. 2 wounds. You do have cover, so...
So 2 plus armor saves.
Yep.
Make both.
And the Plague Marines, they're going to fire everything at the Intercessors.
Yep.
Champion's Plasma Gun, not supercharging. 1 hit, wounding on a 3. Nope. Bolt Gun. It gets 2 hits, wounding on 4s. 1 wound.
2 plus armor save. Yep.
Yeah, no, so we're just going to have to fire the Blight Launchers. They've got 3 hits, wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s. That's 2 wounds, that was a 4.
4 plus armor saves. Make both.
Yeah, so my shooting was wholly ineffectual. Apart, I killed 1 Hellblaster. We're going to start with the Rhino. He's going to charge the Intercessors.
So they are within 6 inches, so one of them will throw a crack grenade, and the others will fire their bolt rifles. So, crack grenade hitting on 6. Oh, hit. Wounds on a 5. Wounded. 4 plus armor.
Yeah, minus 1 armor. No, pass the save.
8 bolt rifle shots hitting on 6s. Not a 1.
And for its charge distance, it rolled a 6, which... Yeah, so its charge move takes it to there, within an inch of that Intercessor. And then we will have the... we'll do the Plague Marines first, actually, because they've got slightly longer charge. They won't declare the Librarian.
Okay.
So just the Intercessors.
So the Intercessor engaged, so no Overwatch.
Double one isn't going to
won't get them in.
And then the Poxwalkers as well. Again, not the Librarian. 6. And they complete their charge move like so. We'll start with Poxwalkers, because if they can take him down, they get a Poxwalker back.
Yep.
They'll pile in onto the pipe, but I'm not going to balance them up there, so...
Yeah. So we're just going to...
Those 3 pile in on top of the pipe, as does this one. Like that. So everyone is within an inch of somebody.
So it's 22 attacks hitting on 4s.
The first batch of 11 hitting on 4s. We've got only 4 hits out of all that, so I'll roll a second and I'll roll. So wounds for those. 3 wounds out of it though. Second batch to hit. Another 2. Wow. Wounding on 5s. No more. So only 3 wounds out of all that.
So 3 plus armor saves. That failed 1. So get a Poxwalker back and the Intercessor goes down.
I've got my new Poxwalker there. And then they get to consolidate. He can consolidate into that Hellblaster.
And then the Rhino.
The Rhino, it has 3 attacks hitting on 6s, because it's not really designed for this kind of thing. Oh, it got hit though. It's strength 6, so it moves on 3. It does.
3 plus armor save, maybe.
No. And that's it for my attacks, so you get to strike back.
Yep. I'll start with the Hellblaster. It's 2 attacks, hitting on 3s.
No.
Yep. Intercessors have 9 attacks, hitting on 3s. Average, 6 hits, wounding on 3s. 4 wounds.
Disgustingly resilient. Nope, I made 1, so 3 die.
So it's the end of Death Card turn 3, on to Space Marines turn 3. So, my movement, the Librarian is going to move around to here just to give it an inch away of the Rhino. Intercessors will fall back. Actually, they can go a bit further to make a bit of a wall around him. And this 1 Hellblaster will fall back as well. Then in the Psychic phase, that should be on 8 wounds, not 10.
Oh yeah. I don't know why I put that on.
The Librarian will try to manifest Smite. He needs a 5. He gets perils. Takes 3 wounds. Down to 2. Then he'll try Might of Heroes on himself, which he gets at last. Then shooting phase. The intercessors will all shoot at the Poxwalkers. Actually, one will throw a frag grenade, so 5 shots with a frag grenade, hitting on 4s. Wow, what a waste of all those 6s and 5s. Wounding on 4s, 3 wounds.
Disgustingly resilient. Made 1, 2 more there, 2 down.
6 bolt rifle shots hitting on 4s, 5 hits, wounding on 3s, 4 wounds.
Another 3 Poxwalkers die.
So that's 6 in total.
Yes, obviously this is wrong. We clearly can't do basic arithmetic, but as you'll see in a moment, it will make absolutely no difference to the game.
Yeah, we'll get rid of those 5 who are on the pipe and this one over here.
Then the Librarian will throw a frag grenade at the Poxwalkers. D6 shots, 5, hitting on 3s because he did not fall back. 4 hits, wounding on 4s. 2 wounds.
One saved, so another Poxwalker goes down.
Then the Hellblaster at last will throw a frag grenade at the Poxwalkers as well. D6 shots, 3, hitting on 4s. 2, wounding on 4s. 2.
Oh, disgustingly resilient. Oh, I made 1.
We've got 1 Poxwalker left.
1 left.
And then in the charge phase, the Librarian will charge the Rhino.
Okay, we'll Overwatch, we'll do the bolt, the combi bolter. A hit. Comes on a 4. Does.
3+ armor save, made it.
Havoc launcher. Gets 3 shots, hitting on 6s. 1 hit, wounds on a 3 because he didn't get Might of Heroes. It didn't wound.
And then he's only an inch
He's
away,
2
so
inches away.
he's in, but his charge distance is 8. So Librarian strikes first. He has 4 attacks, hitting on 3s. 1 hit. He didn't wound, he needed a 5. So the Rhino gets to strike back.
It has 3 attacks, hitting on 6s. No hits.
So that's Space Marine turn 3, on to Death Guard turn 4.
So, for my movement, Plague Marines have moved up. Rhino fell back, hide itself in a corner, and the Blight-Haulers stayed where it is, and remaining Poxwalker just moved a little bit. On to the shooting phase. The Plague Marines will fire everything at the... No, actually, we'll do the Blight-Hauler first. He'll fire the Multi-Melter and the Missile Launcher at the one Hellblaster, because, well, 50% chance of hitting, and then the Bile Spurt is in range of the Intercessors, so we'll shoot those.
Okay.
Start with the Multi-Melter, hitting on 4 rerolling ones.
Alright,
Rerolling ones.
No, it's still hit.
Wounds on a 2. It does. No armor save.
Yeah. 6+ armor save, it's got cover.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
6+ armor save. No.
And not within 12 inches, so just that.
Yeah,
But
he's
3
dead.
damage.
Yeah.
Crack Missile obviously wasted. Bile Spurt on the Intercessors. D3 shots. Still only 1. Hitting on a 4. Nope. Then the Plague Marines will attack the Intercessors. This man with the bolt gun will throw a crack grenade, and then the other 3 with their actual guns.
Yep.
So we'll do the Blight Launchers because nobody's wounded at the moment. 3 shots. 3 hits. Wounding on the 3s. Rerolling 1s. Still no 2 wounds. 4+ save.
4+, because we're sling cover. 1 gets through.
D3 damage. No, only 1.
So Intercessor takes a wound.
Alright, we'll do the Champion's Plasma Gun, not supercharged. Gets 2 hits, wounds on 3s, and 1 wound.
5+ armor save. Nope. So the wounded man goes down.
And the crack grenade hits on a 3. No.
And the Rhino can
Rhino fell back. So,
can't shoot.
charge phase, the Plague Marines will charge the Intercessors, but not the Librarian.
Okay. So we'll Overwatch. We'll throw a crack grenade and the 2 bolt rifles.
Okay.
Crack grenade hits. Wounds on a 3. Yes. They have cover, so...
Yeah, they have got cover from the pipe, so 3+ save. Yeah.
Right. And then the bolt rifles. Nothing.
Their charge distance. Ooh, 6. Oh, it should be enough.
You can get over the pipe.
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to send him there. So, basically, the Champion will stand on top of the pipe,
And then the other 2 will stay
and then
behind.
the other 2 will stay behind him. The Poxwalker might as well charge them as well.
So,
Yep, so
He's in.
He's in. Rawr.
so on to the fight phase.
We'll do the Plague Marines first. So he will pile in over here. The Champion who was on the pipe. No, you're not the Champion. The Champion who was on the pipe will pile in down here.
They're within an inch of someone.
Yeah.
So,
We'll do the Power Fist first. 2 attacks hitting on 4s. We'll double 1.
traditional.
Yeah. And the 3 Plague Knives hitting on 3s. 2 hits.
Death of the False Emperor.
But you get to get Death of the False Emperor. Yeah, that was a 3, so it's 3 hits in total. Wounding on 4s. Oh, they were wounded.
3+ armour saves. Made all of them.
And then, well, I'll just consolidate a bit. Don't worry about it.
And then the Poxwalker.
Yep, the Valiant Poxwalker has 2 attacks.
Yep.
Hitting on 5s. No.
So I get to strike back. I'll put all my attacks on the Poxwalker.
Yeah, I thought you might do that.
7 attacks hitting on 3s. They all hit. Now that it really doesn't matter. Wounding on 3s. 5 wounds on the Poxwalker.
Yeah, he'll survive. He's no.
So that is a victory point for the Space Marines.
Yeah.
So at the end of the fight phase, the intercessors will consolidate, so Sarge will move around a bit. So that's the end of Death Guard turn 4, on to Space Marines turn 4. So just not much movement to do. The Librarian will move around a bit, so he's closest to the Plague Marines, and then on to the Psychic phase. He will try to manifest Smite on the Plague Marines. Needs a 5. Gets a 10. D3 mortal wounds. 2.
Disgustingly resilient. Ignored 1. So we will lose a bolt gun.
And then he will try to manifest Might of Heroes on himself, which he gets with a 9. Right, he's finally got the hang of it. The 3 intercessors will fire their bolt pistols at the Plague Marines. 2 hits, 3 on 5s, 1 wound.
Armour save. Passed.
And then the Librarian, he'll fire his bolt pistol at the Rhino because it's the only target. He hit, wounded on a 5, wounded.
3+ armour save. Oh no!
So the Rhino takes down to 7. And then the Librarian will declare a charge on the thingamajigs, the Plague Marines. He'll get in with a 9. So he'll just go like that. So he gets to strike first. So he has 5 attacks on 3s because he finally got Might of Heroes. They all hit. Right, I need all those 6s again. Wounding on 4s. Strength 5. Come on.
Oh.
1 wound.
6+ save. Nope.
D3 damage. 1.
Which I ignored.
Right. And then the intercessors get to fight. 7 attacks hitting on 3s. 3 hits. Wounding on 5s. 2 wounds.
Armour save. Oh, failed 1. Disgustingly resilient. Nope.
So another Plague Marine goes down.
Yeah, we'll lose this guy because he's not in your deployment zone.
And the intercessors get to consolidate.
Yes. And then they get to fight back. Power Fist can only hit the intercessors, and I can't kill the Librarian with his 1 attack, so we'll put everything in the intercessors.
Okay.
Power Fist. We hit once at last. Wounds on a 2. It does.
6+ armor save. Yeah!
And then the knife misses.
That's what it looks like at the end of Space Marines turn 4, on to Death Guard turn 5.
So I actually made a slight mistake before. By leaving the Blight-Hauler here, I meant it couldn't get into its Space Marine deployment zone with its normal move, but I'm going to charge it, so hopefully we'll be able to get some extra movement again into the deployment zone, but still I should have thought of that before. Forgot I only had 1 turn left. The Plague Marines are going to fall back, I think. Yeah, they are, because I don't want I don't want to give your Librarian free attacks on them. So, although actually, it might be tricky to do that. So, the champion falls back. He's actually standing on the pipe like this, because that's about as far as he can go. And this Plague Marine is still in the Space Marine deployment zone.
He's just in it.
Just in them, and he's more than an inch away. The Rhino's going to stay still. The Blight-Hauler is actually closer to the Librarian, just about. So he's going to shoot the Librarian with all his guns.
Okay.
So the multi-melter hits on 4. No, it does.
Of course it hits.
It's been consistent. Winning on a 2. Oh. Well,
that is important.
Crack Missile. Misses.
Well, that never hits. The multi-melter always hits.
Yeah. D3 shots with the Bile Spurt. 1 again.
Yeah, that was his 1.
It hit.
Wounded. Oh, it hit, sorry.
It did wound because it's strength 6.
4+ armor save. Made it.
The Plague Marines can't shoot. The Rhino will shoot everything at the intercessors because it's the only target. So
and of course, it can shoot as long as part of the vehicle can see the target. It can shoot, even though the weapons would really be blocked by the wall. But,
yeah, so this part of the thing can see the intercessors.
Shoot out of that bit
they will get cover from it because this wall's in the way. So we do the combi bolter. 4 3s, so all hit. Wounding on 4s. 3 wounds, 2+ save though.
2+ armor saves. Failed 1. The intercessor. I'll take that guy. Takes a wound.
Then the Havoc Launcher gets 2 shots again, hitting on 3s because it didn't move. 1 hit, wounding on a 3, strength 5. Yep.
2+. Made it.
Just about.
And then the Blight-Hauler's going to charge.
Yes, it has to charge, and it's going to charge the Librarian, but not the intercessors because it has to get within your deployment zone.
So the Librarian will throw a crack grenade. See if we can get 3 in a row with crack grenades. Nope, not quite.
I think basically anything other than a double 1. Yeah, that's
in.
So that gets to strike first. 3 attacks.
Hitting on
Hitting on
4s.
4s. 1 hit, wounding on a 3.
Yeah, strength 6.
Yeah, so it did wound, and I think it's minus 2 AP.
Yeah, for the Nashi Maw,
For
so
the Nashi
5 plus. Nope. Librarian takes wounds down to 1, but he gets to fight back.
Yeah.
So he has 5 attacks, hitting on 4s because the Blight-Hauler smells bad. 1 hit, wounding on 5, didn't wound. So that's Death Guard turn 5. On the Space Marines turn 5. I think we're just going to move a bit so we're closer to the Blight-Hauler, because we're probably going to have to try and punch it to death. And the Librarian's going to stay in combat. So on to the Psychic phase, he'll try and manifest Smite. He needs a big one. Gets it with a 5, bare minimum. D3 damage, 1.
Ignoring it on a not that.
So down to 6. And then he'll try and do Might of Heroes on himself, needing a 6.
Ah,
He gets a peril, so he dies. And so he takes D3 mortal wounds, so he immediately dies, because he only has 1 left. And then every unit within 6 inches takes D3 mortal wounds. So the Blight-Hauler takes 1.
which it doesn't ignore.
So it's down to 5. And then the Plague Marines take 1.
Which they don't ignore.
So Plague Marine goes down.
Yes. Doesn't actually matter which one it is. I'm going to take Champion.
And then the Intercessors take 1. So the Wounded Man goes down. So that was probably actually better than getting Might of Heroes, to be honest. So onto the shooting phase. The Intercessors, one will throw a crack grenade at the Plague Marine and the other one fires bolt rifle. So a crack grenade hits, wounds on 3, doesn't wound. Bolt rifle, 1 hit, doesn't wound. And then they'll charge the Plague Marine.
Who I've watched with his Blight Launcher. Didn't hit.
They're in. So they have 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3 hits, wounding on 5s. No.
And he gets to punch them back or stab them with his knife. We get this to the False Emperor. Oh, shame they don't stack. 2 wounds. Wow.
3 plus armor saves. Made 1. Made 2. And that's the end of the game. So the Death Guard have 3 units in my deployment zone, so that's 6 victory points, and I get 1 victory point for the Poxwalkers. So Death Guard victory, we'll recap that for you now.
So that was the mission for issue 28 of Warhammer 40,000 Conquest. How did you think that went?
Fairly well. I thought that was going to be harder than it was in the end, because I didn't expect to get rid of the Dreadnought quite so easily, basically. I thought he was going to be really hard for me to steer around and get to your deployment zone. My rolls were not fantastic, but it didn't really matter because the guy who did roll well enough was the Blight-Hauler, and he was consistently taking people out. I think it helped that your Librarian blew himself up as well.
Yeah, I think it's pretty poor rolls all round except for the Blight-Hauler.
Pretty much, yeah, because I definitely don't want to say, I rolled really well and you rolled really badly, because my Plague Marines I think did 2 wounds over the whole game or something like that.
Pretty poorly. The Librarian was just awful. I mean, he failed 4 psychic tests out of 8.
Yeah, and 2 of those
10,
were double
I think. And 2 of those were perils. The Dreadnought didn't do anything. I think he killed a Poxwalker maybe with the Fragstorm launchers.
Yeah.
Although, if he had made that charge, I think it would have been completely different. Completely would have just bogged down the Rhino and the Blight-Hauler.
Yeah, he didn't really get a chance.
Yeah.
Well, he failed that charge and then I blew him up before he had a chance to do anything else. I was going to say, I suppose your other option with him would have been keeping him back for a turn, waiting until I got a bit closer, but obviously you would have taken some more shooting.
He would just be plink away at him.
Yeah, and I would have been able to move the Blight-Hauler within 12 inches, so given the same dice rolls, probably would have still killed him.
And once he goes down, he got the Librarian, but he was completely rubbish in this game. It's going to be too difficult to get rid of 2 vehicles. And the Hellblasters, there's only 2 of them, and they don't have the ammo box to help them, so they can't put out a lot of fire at long range.
No.
I don't want to put them in the open, so you shoot at them.
And I'm not scared of you taking 1 wound at a time off my vehicles with them. If they could supercharge, I would be a little bit more concerned, and I suppose they can threaten the Plague Marines. Yeah, 1 wound at a time off vehicles that have 8 or 10.
It takes too long.
Yeah. Which we did actually, despite mentioning it at the beginning of the game, we forgot to roll for self-repair for the Rhino.
Oh yeah.
So he technically would have had couple of chances to heal those wounds it took, or a wound at a time.
Well, it survived in the end, so it wouldn't have mattered.
It didn't even go into its second bracket, so it would have made absolutely no difference. But another thing to add to our crib sheet of things not to forget.
And I think once again the intercessors were my most valued unit by just surviving.
Surviving and taking out a fair few poxwalkers and did all right against
Plague Marine,
so yeah.
But I think we did actually get to see how versatile the Rhino actually is. It's more than just a transport. It's quite a good smite blocker, and you can charge it into things because it's almost certain to survive.
Yeah, exactly. I did a classic tactic there, charged the Rhino into the shooter unit first. It wasn't scared of their shooting, really. And then that meant I could charge the Poxwalkers and the Plague Marines without any overwatch because the Rhino got in first. I was actually thinking, what use is it going to be? But, well, it has some uses. Its shooting isn't that effective. It's somewhere between 5 and 10 shots, which don't have any armour penetration. But actually, it took the final wind off the Dreadnought.
You can put out a decent amount of fire.
Yeah,
what it is. And it's not really not a priority compared to the Plague Marines, at least.
It will find more use in the future as a delivery system for the Foul Blightspawn as well, which is a scary prospect.
So you can move 12 inches, get another 3 inches out of disembarking, and then move normally. So you can basically hit anywhere on the board.
Yep.
And it's going to have the problem that the Dreadnought has, where it's pretty big, so it's kind of hard to manoeuvre around this board. It's a fairly limited number of routes it can actually take. I think it is actually a fairly challenging mission for the Death Guard, as you said, just because of the distance you need to go while getting shot at. And if I'd rolled better for my shooting...
Yeah, if you'd taken out more of those Poxwalkers with the Dreadnought, say got them down to half strength or something, that would have been much closer to a victory point, and they wouldn't have been in irritation later.
But then again, your Plague Marines did pretty poorly as well, so I mean, sort of evened out.
Perhaps, yeah. As you said before, if that charge had gone off, it would have had a Dreadnought in the middle of the board, possibly smashed the Rhino to bits.
It could have piled into the Blight-Hauler.
Yeah, which would have then neutered that shooting.
Well, it is kind of a disadvantage for you, because you have to bring in both vehicles fairly close to each other. I mean, you could advance the Rhino, but then that would actually bring it closer to the Dreadnought.
It's worth pointing out as well, as the Rhino's profile degrades, its movement gets worse.
Yeah, it gets to half movement when it hits its middle bracket, so then down to 4 inches or
something like that.
Inches.
Yeah, so it gets pretty slow if you can actually do some damage to it.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much more to say about this. But if you enjoyed this content, please leave a like and subscribe, and leave any comments. If you've played these missions, tell us how you got on. We've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Goodbye.